I can't seem to stop covering this beef between Ariel and Bisping, which at this point feels very one-sided. Every time something crops up, I have to cover it. I find it interesting. What could I say? I was a sucker for this stuff. But at this point, it's so one-sided. Ariel just simply refuses to fight back. Maybe he hasn't seen this clip yet, but I just don't understand why Bisping now seems to just absolutely despise Ariel. I don't see him doing this to anybody else. Any chance he gets, he's taking a low blow. He's taking a shot. And in this video, he pulls up one of the sorest subjects for Ariel ever. But this is not just about Bisping versus Ariel. I'm actually kind of okay with these little low blows that he delivers to Ariel, because Ariel on his show today said some ludicrous things alongside Chael Sonnen. It's just the dialogues that they have are absolutely insane. And even later in the interview, which I didn't include this clip, but later in the episode, Ariel calls himself a journalist with a capital J, yet he'll continue to make these crazy claims. Obviously, there's going to be a distinction when you're actually reporting facts versus giving opinions. But when your opinions are so out of touch and people look at you as such an authority in MMA, and it's now your biases and your relationships that are running amok with these opinions that I think a lot of people are misconstruing in some cases, or maybe you're posturing it. When you're giving these positions, it's as if they are factual, I think. Then that's where I have a little bit of a problem. People might disagree. Still love the work that Ariel does, but I just can't get on board with this stance. And it's one and the same with Chael Sonnen, who had an absolutely ridiculous stance, like most of his stances in the sport of mixed martial arts. All right, let's start at the beginning when Michael Bisping misses no opportunity to throw a jab at Ariel. Once again, talking about Jon Jones. Now, actually, he believes that Jon Jones will fight because earlier in the weekend, Jon Jones gave a seminar to a bunch of people in Thailand. And during that seminar, he was asked about fighting Aspinall. And he basically said, what's going down, the planning, etc. I'm not allowed to talk about it. This is up to the UFC if and when they will disclose it and how they're going to disclose this information, etc. So this is now leading Michael Bisping to fervently believe that this fight is happening, which, as an aside, is very exciting. But let's dive into how he uses this as an opportunity to throw another jab at Ariel Helwani. Will Ariel finally respond to this string and stream of insults? We shall see.
Now, do we believe Jon Jones? That's the question. Is he just saying this to appease everyone at the seminar so that people don't have, some kind of negative response? Or is he actually telling the truth? My guess is that he's telling the truth. My guess is that he will take the fight. Ariel Helwani came out recently and said, apparently he asked for a crazy number and the UFC met it. And he didn't think the UFC would do that. So now he turned down the fight. To be fair, Ariel Helwani, as much of a bellend that he is, he does find stuff out. He does weasel his way. He does call people up. He does annoy them. He does get the inside scoop a lot of the time, and he has no problem revealing it. We know that.
Because if you do this, there's only a handful of people that know this information. So we're going to fire a bunch of people, and you're going to ruin people's lives. This is what I was told was a conversation they had with him. After that conversation, he leaked the Brock Lesnar stuff.
So maybe there was some truth to that. But this, of course, goes against everything. Now, this will be the biggest heavyweight fight.
All right, so that's the little jab. But again, I mean, I can't believe, obviously, his producers are the ones that threw that clip in there in terms of the Ariel Helwani flashback, the whole debacle that started his negative relationship with Dana White and the UFC as a whole. I mean, to bring that up, dude, it's so, I don't know. I feel like Ariel's got to respond. Is he still going to be a high road Helwani and not respond? Is he going to finally say something? This is the same type of thing that Brendan Schaub was saying back in the day, and it finally triggered Ariel into a response. But this is different because Bisping has fired so many unanswered shots at this point, and I've documented as many of them as I can catch. I feel like Ariel has to respond. Now, he called Ariel a bellend. I didn't know what a bellend was, so I looked it up. It's vulgar slang from British. It's the glands of the penis. He is a total bellend. It should step down as soon as possible. So that's what Michael Bisping called Ariel Helwani for the context. Okay, now we're going to move on to the final clip to tie this off as to why. Okay, normally I'm kind of like, yo, Bisping, take it easy on Ariel. He does a lot of positive work for the mixed martial arts community. Not a fan of him doing the WWE thing and all this boxing stuff, but it's his show and he's got to do what he's passionate about. So that I understand. It's all good. We just like to claim Ariel as our own, but he does a lot of good things for the sport. Take it easy. But then I heard this clip today on Ariel's show when he was talking with Chael Sonnen, and oh my God, I was just like, you know what? I'm happy Bisping said that, and let me show you why. This is insane. So again, they're talking about Ilia and Islam simultaneously moving up, how that whole thing went down. And here, once again, we see the absolute ridiculous bias from Ariel Helwani, which, again, I'm speculating, but how else do you explain this? He has a relationship with Ilia, has had Ilia on many times. He's never spoken to Islam, will never be able to have Islam on the show. You tell me if that is the only viable explanation for this take. Check this out.
I actually think that you agreed with me, and for some reason, I don't know, maybe misunderstood my stance. I don't know what it was.
Islam.
I'm going back to Islam versus Ilia. You retweeted this. You said not a word here is true. My stance was what Ilia was doing was far more courageous, dropping his title after beating Max Holloway, after beating Volk, not just beating them, knocking them out, going to chase the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in a higher weight class. It is not the same as the champ at 155 saying, hey, I'm going to fight the new champ who just won the belt. And I was debating all of this and also saying that, hey, if you're Islam, take the Ilia fight, take the biggest fight available to you, and then move up, win or lose. If you lose to Ilia, does anyone care? If you don't have the belt anymore and you fight JDM? No. If you're Islam and you beat Ilia, now you're red hot, supremely hot, and now you're going to fight for another belt. And I didn't understand where you were coming from. You did a little video.
I think that Ariel likes to think of himself as like a really smart guy. I'm sure of it, right? He'll never come out and say that, but I think he prides himself on his purported intellect and will approach the sport of MMA, tries to anyways, with some sort of a in as intellectual of a way as possible. But here, it's just riddled with nonsensical statements. Okay, so first of all, when did it become a competition of which move was more courageous? It's not like, hey, I'm trying to out courageous you by me moving up to welterweight. This is not even a conversation. This has to do with two individuals having two separate goals. Now, you're talking about Islam, hey, why don't you stick around and fight Ilia? Because you're looking at it solely through the lens of Ilia. Yeah, that would be a mega fight. That would be incredible for Ilia to go in, and if he could beat Islam, which I don't even think he had a chance to beat Islam, this is my humble opinion, but he didn't even have a chance. But let's say, yeah, you go in and you beat the #1 pound for pound. It's incredible for you. Great. Congratulations for all the Ilia fans and Ilia supporters. That would be phenomenal. From the perspective of Islam, he was not interested in that fight. He said that it wasn't Ilia in particular. He didn't want to fight anybody else moving up because it did nothing for his legacy. And that's what he's focused on. So it's not a competition, first of all, of, oh, yeah, fine. Maybe Ilia's taken on a bigger challenge. Is that what you're saying, to fight Islam? Yeah, but Islam is that bigger challenge. And so I just don't even understand that logic. So yeah, of course, Islam is the pound for pound #1. So anybody fighting him, like if Islam stayed down there, Islam moving up and Islam taking the fight, your logic is screwed, because then in that case, again, Ilia is the more courageous fighter, right? To move up and fight Islam than Islam just staying there and defending the title. Like, what are you even talking about? Where did this battle of courage even come into play? They're just two fighters pursuing two separate objectives. Now, obviously, Islam sticking around at 155 could have been part and parcel of Ilia's vision, and it would have been better for him, but for zero gain with Islam. So it's like another opportunity to talk negatively about Islam for really no reason. It had nothing to do with a cross comparison between the two fighters. And the only reason why I think Ariel is saying this is, once again, because of his relationship with Ilia and his non-relationship with Islam. I'm just saying it's annoying. Why even go there, and why even do this comparison? I guarantee you, New York Rick, if he were allowed to chime in right now, would agree with me.
In the car. And then you said, you started to do the whole gimmick, which I thought we were past, like, hey, I've never made the walk. You're not an athlete. You don't get it. You're insulting. I'm like, we actually agree on this. Am I missing something here?
Now, I'm just going to play this last part because Chael chimes in with some more nonsense. So it's like the Dumb and Dumber crew here are going to both chime in with kind of similar takes. So I'll play Chael's, I'll respond, and then we're going to wrap it up.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit, but we still do have a disagreement. Now, I like the praise of Ilia. I mean, the rules of the playground carry over to the octagon. The same way as two people are going to meet at 3:00 after eighth period, and it gets through the whole school. Why? What happened? What did he say? Well, he said this, and he said this, and he talked to his girlfriend, or whatever it is. That same level of excitement for whatever is going on with these two, like that carries over to the octagon. So one thing is, who is more willing? Who is more sincere in their claim, I'm the best? if we have a pound for pound list that lists somebody as number 1, and in this case they did, Islam. Then you got Ilia that I believe was number 4, and he said, no, wait a minute, I don't agree with this list. In fact, I believe I'm all the way here at number 1, and to prove to you, I'll fight him. And then Ilia says, to show his sincerity, I will take a punishment, which is the relinquishment of my belt. I will enter a division. That's how sincere I am to want to fight this guy. And I think that Ilia just deserved recognized for that. That doesn't mean if they fought that Ilia would win. But if you don't have the head-to-head competition, then we have to go back to the rules of the playground, which is if 2 guys agree to show up at 3 and 1 guy didn't show up for whatever reason, your classmates look at this guy as the winner.
Oh my God. Where do I begin? So number 1, he's going by the playground rules. And so why don't we say, why doesn't Ilia move up to 170 and fight his way to the top and meet him at the playground? Because he's just gone to a different school is what's happened. He's transferred to a different school. So now he loses the fight because he wanted to do this transfer. Also, what if there were 2 weight classes apart and then you're ranked number 4th and ranked number 1? And what, they can't fight. That's not a realistic thing. So the situation is specific. And on top of that, this is you're looking at it through the same lens as Ariel. You have no regard for what Islam is interested in, what Islam wants. And he wants more than just sticking. First of all, he's already had more title defenses than anybody in the history of the lightweight division. I don't think he needs to do any more title defenses. And if we had like a little sliver of fandom for Islam here, you guys would both be saying this. So he's proved his point. He's destroyed the playground at the school, whatever this dumb analogy is. He's done. He's ready to move on. He doesn't want to fight. And moreover, maybe he would stick around to fight another lightweight. I don't even know. But like he said this from the get-go, he wants double champ status. The time is now. Right when he's not getting any younger. Like, hello, Bilal just lost. Now he's got his chance. He's going to get slotted in right for that title shot. It's the perfect time. This has nothing to do with Ilia. Stop making it a comparison of courageousness or whatever dumb stuff you guys are talking about. And that's it. That's it. This is over. So Chael and Ariel are tag teaming this really low IQ conversation. We'll see what you guys think, but that's my 2 cents. I'm just annoyed at this point because I don't even know where this is coming from. It's totally crazy. Coming back to the beginning of this video, will Ariel finally respond to Michael Bisping? Will this beef continue to grow and fester until Ariel just has enough and has to 10-7, 10-6, 10-5? Are we going to get a brutal KO from Ariel Helwani? We shall see. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you in the next video. Take it easy.